reputation for gloom and obscurity has never quite left him, Ibsen is now a staple of the British subsidised theatres. This is partly because his dramas, written in the second half of the last century, touch on issues such as feminism, environmentalism, and even press freedom and state secrecy that are current at the end of this century. He also wrote parts that have come to be seen as thespian Everests, against which actors wish to test themselves. In Sir Peter Hall's new London production of Ibsen's late play, The Master Builder, Alan Bates becomes the third leading British actor of recent years, after Brian Cox and John Wood, to play the architect Halvard Solness. The popularity of this particular Ibsen drama may also be explained by the appeal to a Freudian age of a play about a man obsessed by a high tower, who is pressured by a young woman to prove that he can still get up it.
Shush, for heaven's sake, he's coming. Just make sure you talk him out of the idea. And do let us be friends, Miss Vango, can't we? Oh, only we could. No, here he comes. Doctor, I'd like a word with you.
I suppose it's about him.
Well, of course it's about him. Come inside, please.
They're everlasting, these themes, of ruthlessness, of ambition, of guilt, paranoia, of what we owe each other.
Have you noticed, Hilda, that as soon as I arrive, she leaves?
I've noticed that as soon as you arrive, she feels she has to leave.
The Master Builder is a man of vision. He's achieved a great deal. He's done it quite ruthlessly, but he's also done it with, running alongside that is paranoia and huge guilt about how he's done it, and what it's cost everyone around him, and indeed what it's cost him himself, because he's lost his children. And he finally comes to a huge realization that the whole thing has not been worth it. The girl presents to him one shining way out, but he can't take it. He's too old, it's too far gone, she's too young. And in a way, the end, I think, is when she just wants him to be the image of this great man she knew 10 years ago.
Did you talk to her for a long time? For a long time, I'm asking. Oh, poor Alina. You talked about the little boys, I suppose. She will never get over it. Never in this world will she get over it. You're standing like a marble statue again, just as you did last night.
I want to go away.
Go away?
Yes.
Well, I won't let you.
What am I supposed to do here?
Just be here, Hilda.
Oh, thank you very much. I doubt it would stop at that.
I don't think I would mind.
Tom Pauling, lots of imagery in this play about upright towers. How does the play stand up?
Well, in fact, the tower, I suppose, is a kind of symbol out of Freemasonry. Yeats uses it for an entire volume of poems, and of course you've got ladders, which are again another Masonic symbol. So as in the Magic Flute, which we reviewed not too long ago, there is this extraordinary symbolism coming in from this very masculinist secret organization, which actually Ibsen is taking apart in the play. So the tower then is a wonderful stage set, and this is a marvelous production, but the stage set creates the tower, which is actually the scaffolding on the tower, as looking like a sort of concentration camp watchtower. So it's full of extraordinary symbolism. You realize this great prophetic writer can go right to the soul of Europe, to the future of Europe, see that it's going to go into Nordic nationalism, see that it's going to aggrandize the whole idea of male achievement and individualism, and takes it apart, and that the feminist movement is going to come in and destroy it. He's got it all there, way back in about 1893. And as I was watching, I think this is an extraordinary genius. And then remembering that the young James Joyce at the age of 18 wrote this extraordinary letter of adulation to Ibsen, that Bernard Shaw worshipped him as well. I was overcome by it.
I agree with a lot of that. I think Tom's rather sweetly innocent. If there's this huge tower on stage and he keeps saying, I can't get my towers as high as I used to, and Tom thinks it's about Freemasonry. Other people are
well, I know there's a phallic reference.
Helen Pearson.
I'd only read it and never seen it, and I thought that on the page it seems very stolid and burdened by these symbols. But what struck me, and particularly this, as Tom says, wonderful production by Peter Hall, it plays like a dream. I mean, literally, the conscious and the subconscious seem to sort of move in and out. He has lots of very wonderful devices for signalling this. You have some music coming up when Solness is, you know, very stricken. There's a painting in the first act at the back of a dark lake, and there's an effect, a lighting effect, which actually makes it seem to move, and you get this feeling of submerged fears coming up. So it does actually feel mystical and odd, which is, I've never encountered that in the theatre before. Uncanny.
Tony Parsons, I think Noel Coward said to be wary of plays where they had a stuffed dark horse seagull on the mantelpiece, and this is one of them. What do you think?
Well, I think time has overtaken Ibsen to a degree. Not so much for all the unintentional guffaws about magnificent erections and magnificent towers pointing to the sky and all that. But one of the themes of the play is about a loss of faith, and that just doesn't resonate the way it would have done in 19th century Norway, because this is a secular age, it's an age without faith, so it doesn't have the same kind of impact. And I also think it's difficult to sell lines like, I feel I'm turning into a troll. I think it's, you know, if you said that to a 19th century Norwegian, they would have said, boy, I'm impressed, you know.
But I'm not wrong with it, certainly. I mean, and it's written in headlines, and you get cliches like, you know, youth will be knocking at the door immediately, knock, knock, and Hilda
no, but what
walks in.
What I liked about it, because I've actually squirmed through every Ibsen that I've ever seen, and so I was really, really dreading this and had to be led in at gunpoint, because I just thought I was going to have an absolutely terrible time. And I think it's the most contemporary reading of Ibsen I've ever seen, thanks to Bates and Hall. And I think, I mean, the story is about a man that's lost a son, and I thought it was an incredibly extraordinary, moving performance from Alan Bates. And I sat there and thought, well, of course, this man has lost a son too, and that's what made the grief ring so true.
I agree with Tony. In my view of late 19th century theatre had been that you give your friends tickets to Chekhov and your enemies tickets to Ibsen, and I'd always thought that until this production, really. That, and I agree with Tom that I did think what an amazing writer, because it is the modernity of it, that you get this stuff in his other plays, but particularly in this one, about the conflict between the sexes, is, you know, is as fresh as David Mamet, Oleana, that kind of stuff. The way, this spooky feeling, and a buzz went through the auditorium when he predicts effectively tower blocks. He wants to build these towers in which people will live one day, and he thinks this is a beautiful dream. And the way that he's got all of that, and that it's a portrait of what we would now call the male menopause. I mean, that's what
yes, it is.
I have to say, I do think the two women, Gemma Jones and Victoria Hamilton, are the real strengths of it. I thought that Alan Bates was not sufficiently masterly for the master builder. I thought that, you know, he had a lot of strickenness about him, lots of things were very plausible, but I just think he lacks a sort of demonic grandeur, which I think you need for that part.
I thought he had the sense of denial, that there's that thing that runs through it of the difference between desire and action and the gap between them. And I thought he had all that. I agree with Tony that it was almost, it was really unbearably moving, the speech about the death of the child. So I thought he had all that.
Yes, except that the children weren't named. You know, they were rather abstract the way they were brought in. I mean, I found the first act difficult, too flurried, and then I thought Alan Bates really got it together, and it was very powerful. Granted the fact that in fact, he's rather too old for the part. I think it's really about a couple in their early 40s.
I think he captured. Well, maybe the characters in his early 40s, but Bates has got that. I mean, he's a sex symbol in late middle age. I mean, he captures that the sense of the aging smoothie. He's
also very brief last word, Charles. I mean, Ibsen is a hard sell, as we've been saying. This is in the West End, but I mean, it does seem to me that this is, I mean, amazingly makes Ibsen into
absolutely. Well, I couldn't get anyone to come with me, and my friend said that he'd rather sort of set himself on fire, and I told him after I'd gone that I said, you can set yourself on fire for not coming.
Absolutely. We move on from the third course to the fourth.